Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Hypercar Hunt. Today we are here with the last ever Pagani Huayra Roadster in 50% of a tame spec and the other 50% not so tame. The Huayra Roadster, powered by an AMG-derived 6-litre twin-turbocharged V12, producing nearly 800 brake horsepower, a top speed of over 200 miles an hour. This thing isn't just a piece of art on wheels, she's also pretty damn quick. One of the few places you can actually see the exposed monocoque is just on the doorsill of the Huayra. Now what's kind of cool is the monocoque is actually made out of a mixture of carbon fibre and titanium, which Pagani have called carbotanium. The wheels are in fact 20 inch on the front and 21 inch on the rear, with 255 width tyres on the front, 355, nearly said 255, but 355 width on the rear. That's pretty crazy. And as you can see, the owner of the vehicle really enjoys driving the car. There is even some signs of wear on it. One of the most iconic looks of the Huayra is the front clam. See, everything from the back has been changed by little bits depending on the model, whether it was BC Roadster, Huayra Coupe, Huayra Roadster, and then on, but the front has always stayed marginally the same. You've got your active aerodynamic fins at the front and at the rear. You've also got these absolutely gorgeous wing mirrors, which were originally designed after a female's eye, because let's face it, who doesn't want a wing mirror that looks like a lady's eye? And actually, it actually does. Usually you hear a lot about marketing, people saying, oh, it's shaped after this. This, you can very simply see it. What's kind of cool though about this is the front badge is made out of titanium. Welcome then to the Pagani Huayra Roadster's interior. This one specifically is about as loud as it gets. First shade of red in here probably looked like Ronald McDonald went and attacked it, but actually I personally think it really suits this car. The clear carbon look, meaning it's very dark, and the inside being bright yellow and black, I think it looks absolutely mega. But the thing is, I've been around the Pagani factory and there are certain things which I find absolutely fascinating. So you either have metal, as in titanium, carbon, or leather, or Alcantara, or things like that. Everything you touch is ultra high quality. Pagani really does focus on making sure that the build quality and the quality of their products is the highest in the world. They are Birkin bags. They are, what other company is collaborating with Hermes? Yes, okay, Bugatti are, but I mean, Pagani just do it a little bit differently. I mean, straight off the bat, the steering wheel, slightly overcomplicated, but it has a really nice shape to it, a beautiful thickness. The paddles are a bit soft. They don't really make any noise or do anything. It's kind of a bit weird. The car though, interestingly, only revs to 6,200 RPM. It's a very low revving engine and you can hear it when the car's running. With them twin turbos though, you do get a lot of whooshy spoolie noises from the snaily boys. So that's pretty cool. You've got loads of switches down here, which amusingly to me, you have to look at square on from here to be able to see what they do, because from here, the little glass domes distort the picture. Looks very cool, slightly impractical, but nevertheless it does look and make you feel like it's in a very special place. You also have these flip switches here. You've got the defroster switch, which just like an airplane flicks on. You've got the hazard lights. The interior of the Pagani Huayra Roadster is decked out in all of the greatest materials. When it comes to metal, it's usually titanium. If it's something you can touch that's soft, it's usually leather or Alcantara, and if it's hard, it's probably carbon fibre. Now, yes, okay, the interior on this one is a little bit loud, but I think it really suits the car. Now, probably the most satisfying thing on the interior of this has to be the gear shifter. So, neutral is to the left, but it naturally comes into the middle. Now, if you want it in reverse, you click it over to the left and forwards, and it's like every time that you go to shift or do something, it rewards you with a satisfying, I like that a lot. Talking of rewarding, you've got switches galore made out of titanium. You flick them, they all just sound really satisfying. Even the wing mirrors and the windows are satisfying. I mean, Pagani really did do it quite well. The seat adjuster is a little knob in between your legs. Believe it or not the first time I've dealt with that problem. But you've also got these dials which you think, oh, they're kind of hard to see. but actually, much like a Mercedes, they do change colour for many, many different colours. There was a lot of design inspiration taken from fighter jets, believe it or not. And one of the things that I do particularly love, the only red covered switch, a toggle switch, is the launch button just up here. So you can imagine you're sitting in your fighter jet and you're just about to take off, and then you just flip this button just here, and then boom, you're away. Really cool design, really like it. You've also got loads of different colours you can configure the interior lighting in. You've also got these gold dials, which is cool. I don't know if I would have chosen them, I probably would have gone black, but each to their own. The award for overkill though has to go to the keys for Pagani, because right here, this little model of the Pagani Huayra, when you pull the front out, that is, yes, a Mercedes key, but that is also the key for the Mercedes, the Pagani, and you can slot it in here and start it up. But we're not doing that quite yet. In terms of storage though, there are loads of cool features. You've got the glove locker, which has got a remarkable amount of space. You've got these little pockets here, which once again have got a remarkable amount of space. And then this little pull cord, which right in front of you and the driver, you have another cubby hole. In the doors, you've got a little pocket which would fit a phone. Around the back of you, you have just behind your seats enough space for a little bag. You've got these pull down things which give you another little storage area, which is pretty great. And then when you open the rear clam, you've also got space to put bags. And I'm not talking about small bags. So in order to open the rear clam, it actually takes two people. So I'm going to need my beautiful brunette assistant, John. Thank you, sir. So first of all, you're going to lift up the beautiful leather strap, then you pop the little red lever, and you are graced by one of the most beautiful engines on a modern hypercar. Now the reason why we're opening this rear clam up is because under this box here is a remarkably large storage area. Now, it may seem a bit of a faff, but I think it's quite nice having a touch of leather. You open this up, and once again, that is enough space for at least one person to have maybe half a week's worth of clothing. That is if you're a man, or both spaces for your wife. So, not bad. Not bad at all. So in order to open the frunk, once again, I need my beautiful brunette assistant. I swear it's getting less beautiful each time. You pop the leather open, lift this red catch, and you are graced with another really cool mechanism. There is no storage in the front of this, much like other cars of a similar ilk, just because they focus on cooling, aerodynamics, giving it as much airflow as possible. What is quite nice though is when you look down here, you see the suspension arms. They've really taken a lot of work in making sure that the tiny details are finessed. And the most crazy thing on these Paganis is the fact that every single bolt has the word Pagani engraved on it. And I mean every single bolt. Another weird fact, if you stand dead center with the clam up, kind of makes you look like Gru from Despicable Me. Unique to the Huayra Roadster, this rear quarter, as you can see, is really accentuated. On the standard Huayra, it isn't. And bespoke to this car, it has this shark fin. Let me know down below if you like it. I think it kind of works, because otherwise it's quite a long area where it's kind of vague and there's not much going on, whereas with this shark fin, it kind of makes it look a little bit more aggressive. Very unique to Pagani, and Pagani do it with almost all of their model cars, is the 4 exhaust pipes in the middle. On the Zonda, they had the 4 exhausts with the circular surround, and with the Huayra, they just had the 4 trumpets coming out the back. The blue is where the heat has gone into the titanium and heated it up, which I think is pretty awesome. Now, on that topic, we should probably start it up. Fun fact for you, every badge on the Huayras are made out of a solid piece of billet aluminium. That means if they make one small chip, they've got to redo the whole thing. Pretty crazy. So now comes the point where we have to rate the car. Desirability, performance, value, and usability. So let's start with the highest scoring thing, usability. In terms of hypercars, this is remarkably usable. There is loads of storage. I've actually driven a Huayra. They are super smooth, really easy to bomb around in. It's remarkably good. So with this, considering how much storage is inside, the dual pockets at the rear, I'm actually going to give this a 9.5 out of 10 for usability. In terms of desirability, this car is pretty special. In fact, this car is the last of the 100 Roadsters ever made, and as said, there are only 100 of these worldwide. which in the world of hypercars is pretty low numbers. In fact, in the world of any car, this is very low numbers. Now, admittedly, there are other coupes, which means there are more of them. So whether you're of the opinion of the Roadster is a totally different car, or is it just a coupe with the roof chopped off, you can tell me. But I personally think this is a fairly different car. 100 of them made. Worldwide, what do I think in terms of desirability? Well, Pagani are the handbags of the hypercar world. They're the highest luxury. They're the thing that generally, I can't remember what the guy from Pagani said, but he said to me something like 80% of their clients who have a Pagani have other hypercars in their collection. And I think that is what this car is for. It's not all about the performance. It's about when you want to go out to dinner, look fabulous, and still enjoy a really, really exciting hypercar experience, but decked out in super high quality. So, desirability then. I think I'm going to score this a 7 out of 10. In terms of performance then, the twin turbocharged AMG V12 producing 764 brake horsepower is a fairly sizable lump. She's no small engine, but Pagani really isn't about focusing on speed and performance. It really is about focusing on the highest quality of finish that they can achieve. Now, that's not saying this car isn't a feat of engineering when it comes to speed, but with a top speed of, well, put it this way, they don't even list it on their website. It doesn't really matter. So performance then, bearing in mind I'm comparing this to other hypercars, that means it has to have a top speed of considerable value. It has to be really either focused on handling or, it has to fit into one criteria. This kind of does a bit of everything, so I'm going to rate this a 6.5 out of 10. The value of the Huayra Roadster new was just over 3 million euros. The cars are now fetching anywhere between £3 and upwards pounds. So they are going up in value, but straight off the bat, they're quite a lot of money. But that is very in fitting with Pagani's ethos. You're paying a lot, but you're getting a lot. So in that way, it's not too bad. But the interesting thing is, trying to get a value on these cars is very tricky, because you could have a standard, if you want to call it a standard coupe, and a standard coupe could be fetching X. You put a Hermes interior in it, all of a sudden it's fetching a lot more. You put a couple of special wings on it, once again it's fetching a lot more. So it's kind of a hard thing to value. I mean, they are their individual case, because how are you meant to value something of which this car could be €500,000 different to another car, which in theory is still just a Huayra Roadster? So I really don't know how to score this, so I'd like to call this nil, but I guess we can't, so I'm just going to score it, I don't know, 7.5. We'll call it a 7.5, because these are great investment cars, but I really don't know how to describe the value on them. It's kind of tricky. So then there is a brief look around the Pagani Huayra Roadster. Now, this is a fascinating study because it is a piece of artwork. But as always, thank you so much for watching another episode of the Hypercar Hunt, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers.